You know, in our series in the beginning, we've been talking about new things all throughout the Bible, starting in Genesis, working our way through. And we would be amiss not to finish with maybe what is the biggest new beginning. But that's actually found at the end of your Bible. It's found in Revelations chapter 21. I want you to take a look at it with me there. It's an important passage. It is right there at the very end, second to the last chapter of the book of Revelations. And this is how it begins. Ready? This is Revelation chapter 21, verse 1. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and they were no longer any sea. Now, here the earth being a physical land and body, and the heaven being a world, or even possibly a heavenly body like an aerial body, clouds and things, but then also a celestial body, something that's even beyond that, getting into the stars. That's what he's talking about. He says that's all going to pass away, and there's not even going to be a sea anymore. He said, and then John says, I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, talking about heaven, coming down out of the heaven from God. He sees this heaven, what we call heaven, and we see that word being used multiple times here. And often we talk about heaven, we're talking about the city of heaven, and John is, when he calls it the New Jerusalem, that's heaven. He sees it coming out of the heavens, that is, out of the stars, out of the sky. He sees it coming down, and he sees it coming from God, prepared as a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. And you got to get the picture there. For us, you and I, it's as if the husband that's standing up there with the preacher on the wedding day, and he turns around when the music starts, and here comes his wife walking in white down the aisle to him. That's the concept. That's the picture that's being painted. The excitement, the enthusiasm, the longing. That's what John says it's going to be like when the New Jerusalem, or heaven, comes out of the sky, out of the stars, out of wherever it is, coming to you and I. He says that he saw it prepared as a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. This is what all of the New Testament's about. In fact, this is what all of the Bible's about, and that's the restoration from what should have happened in the garden to what now is going to take place when the new heaven and the new earth take place and New Jerusalem comes along. He says this is the dwelling place, and he will dwell with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. And look at this. This is what we're all waiting for, because see, life doesn't lend to this. Life lends to chaos, because that's the consequences of sin, and that's the destruction of order. It lends to chaos. But in that new heaven and that new Jerusalem, this is what happens in verse 4. He will wipe every tear from their eye. There will be no more death. There'll be no more mourning. There'll be no more crying. There'll be no more pain, for the old order of things have passed away. The old way of doing it. That is the disorder that comes from sin, the chaos that comes from sin. That's all going to be gone. It's not going to be this breakdown of life. Instead, there will be joy. There will be happiness. There will be peace. There will be strength. All of that will take place because we are new. We will not just be a new creature, but we'll be a new creature in a new home, in a new city, in the new earth and the new heaven. And I like what he says in verse 5. Let me read this to you because this is pretty powerful. It says, he who was seated on the throne said, now he's talking about Jesus Christ there. He's the only one sitting on the throne, okay? He who is sitting on the throne said, I am making everything new. Isn't that powerful? Genesis started as new. John's writing in John chapter 1, in the beginning, new. We are a new creature. There's a new heaven and a new earth coming. We're going to be in a new city, the New Jerusalem. And Jesus says, I am making everything new. Man, that should be exciting. We all like new. New is really our future. It's what God had planned for us all along. It's what Jesus Christ is all about, making everything new. And it's so important that Jesus looks to John and says, write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true. My friends, if there is anything you can count on, anything you can be sure of, anything that you can live your life by, that is, there will be a day where everything will be new, in a new home, a new city, a new heaven, in a new glorified body, and everything will be made new. And that you can take to the bank, and it will be true.